Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jami.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle and today's Fusion Hack, where we're going to talk about budgeting for a bodybuilding competition. So if you're going to do your first show or you haven't competed for a while and you're wanting to put together your budget, we're going to just break down quickly for you the things that we would ask you to consider so that you're preparing yourself for success.
And I think both of us come at this from a perspective that this contest thing it can be expensive. And I think our purpose in this little fusion hack is to give you just a little bit of awareness of the things that you might need to spend money on and the things that you must spend money on. So, and within that category of budgeting, I mean, it's no different than a household budget. There are things like food that you definitely want to put on priority. Netflix may not be a priority. It's an optional thing, especially when it comes as opposed to food. So our intent on this is really to kind of focus on the things that you must spend for and the things that might be more optional. So I think the first thing that we would talk about would be probably the entry fee for the show, because you're not going to be able to walk on stage if you haven't paid the entry fee.
Right. So there is a fee to be part of the organization. The organization, of course, that we're part of is the NPC, with the pro division being the IFBB. And so you would need your membership card for the organization. I believe right now the NPC membership is $150. So that's something you'll want to budget for.
NPC is National Physique Committee.
Correct.
And IFBB is International Fitness and Bodybuilding Federation.
International Federation of Bodybuilders.
That's right.
Yes.
Duh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Greg's good at keeping us away from the acronyms.
Yeah.
So yes. So you'll need your membership card. Of course, you don't need the IFBB membership card until you earn that pro status. So starting out, you'll be doing the NPC, which of course you can just Google, how do I get my NPC card? And then you'll know that. And then as you said, and then there's going to be an entry fee for the actual show that you're doing. Those do range. So if you have a certain show in mind, you might want to, reach out or look on their website, see what they charge. I would say it's usually somewhere between $100 and $150 per class. And so by class, what I mean is there's a true novice, which is the very first time you've ever competed. That's the only time you can compete in it. There's novice. You can compete in that one until you win an overall. And then there's the unlimited or open, which is the anybody can compete in. And that's the one that you would need to place in to then qualify for the next level, which would be nationals. And then there are masters divisions that start with 35 plus. And depending on the show, so you'll need to see, which masters divisions each show provides, but usually they go up by 5-year increments. And then of course, depending on what competition category you're in, those can vary too. So you just need to check the promoter's website before locking that down. But I think if you budget for $150 per division that you're thinking of competing in, that should cover you pretty close.
And I maybe a framework I would put on this is if we talk about this, this is really kind of backwards planning. So we're going from the show backwards and then filling in the details of the things that you would need to spend your money on in order to take the stage on that day that you've then trained for. And we are, because this is a fusion hack, we are not getting into the contest prep, the the food, the gym time, all those other aspects that would definitely be part of your budget for this, and definitely a cost expense. But we're just really focused on show.
Right.
What do you need to compete at that show? So first we have the organization fees. Second, to get the card. The second thing is the contest entry fee, which can vary depending on how many classes you're going to do. And what I would encourage you is that if it is your first competition, do the true novice, because you can only do that once.
Well, I encourage people to do as many divisions as they qualify for and are competitive in, because it gives you more stage time.
Right.
And especially if you're new, the first time you step on that stage, you're going to be super nervous. So getting another opportunity will allow you to get that stage time. As much as you practice, you're never going to be able to replicate what it actually feels like when you step on stage and that adrenaline starts to flow. So getting that opportunity, I really really encourage people to, do as many as you feel comfortable that you can afford. So let's jump into our next area that they're going to want to budget for. And since we're working back from the show, everything that's going to be needed to put the look on stage for show day. So we can talk a little bit about the expenses for getting the glam done. So your hair and makeup, also your tan. So let's kind of cover those next, and what you should budget for, and whether or not let's just start with the hair and makeup. There's obviously the option to do it yourself, which would save you a lot of money. If you are a makeup artist, then that might be a good option. Or if you're really good at makeup, it is a challenge, especially on the makeup side of things, because the tan is so dark that we're not going to look the same as we normally do. And you have to be careful not to do everyday makeup. And even as a makeup artist, somebody who does a lot of weddings and things like that might not be the best qualified to then do show makeup. So I really recommend, if you can swing it, to get your makeup professionally done. If you can do hair and makeup, great, but most people can, do their own hair pretty well. Whereas with stage makeup, it's going to be quite a bit different than what you're used to. And
I think we, as we go through this, we're going to cover some of this stuff in a deeper episode about show prep. So for today, just for the Fusion hack, let's just talk about maybe the 10,000 foot view. So NPC fee, show fee, glam, and there's many options in that for hair and makeup. I'm going
to say $300 for that budget was where I was going with that.
And what about suit?
Well, we skipped tan. I had mentioned the tan. Yep. So with the tan, there's the option to either get sprayed by the host tanner, or you can do the DIY. The DIY can be a little bit less expensive. I love the Pro Tan DIY. We actually will probably have somebody from Pro Tan come on and talk a little bit about that as well. But for some people that feels a little daunting, they'd rather just go in and get sprayed. So there's those options. I would budget somewhere between $100 and $150 for tan. So let's go ahead and jump into suits. You want to talk a little bit about suits?
There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of manufacturers out there for suits. We like Toxic Angels. There's Angel Bikinis. There's Sean's Couture. Sean makes custom suits, really, really detail oriented. They're all good in their own way. And part of it is just figuring out what meets your budget. And there are different suit expenses that you can do. Toxic Angels, for example, has a great website that you can go in and design your suit. Angel Bikinis has a similar site. Sean works a little bit more one-on-one, and she schedules a fitting for you.
She just gets a lot of different measurements from you, but she can do it remotely.
Right.
The other thing you could consider with your suit is, if you are on a budget, you can rent. So actually there's Center Stage Rental, Amy Spatzer's business, and I know there's some other ones out there, but she has a lot of beautiful suits. So, the difference is obviously not going to be custom made for you, but she does consult with people to try to make sure she, matches them with the suit as best as possible. If it's your first show and you don't know if you're going to want to compete again, and it's your bucket list thing and you want to try it out, renting might be a good option for you. So you also don't have to get the fully blinged out suits to start with. You could start with a simpler suit if you want to have one made for you, and then get it blinged down the line, or get something more custom if you end up deciding it's something you love and you want to keep doing and you want to invest in something a little bit fancier. But I'd say for rentals, it could, I'm not sure, I'd say probably like $100 to $300. And then, as far as getting a custom made suit, I mean, it can go anywhere from, let's say, $300 to $500 to $1,000 or even $2,000. It really kind of depends on, what kind of crystals you want and just how far you want to go with that. But let me just say, number one importance is the fit. So if nothing else, if you're saving money and you want to get something basic, just make sure it fits you. And
again, this is why we'll talk about this more in depth, is we'll talk about the fit, but we'll also talk about the color. So we'll talk about that later. So the last thing that I have, at least on this list, is shoes. And I guess shoes I think are essential for bikini and figure, but all the other divisions that you're barefoot. So if you're going to do bikini or wellness or figure, then you've got to have shoes.
Right. And most of us choose to go with the clear heel, 4 to 5 inches, no more than an inch platform. I'd encourage you, again, like Greg says, we'll go in a little more depth later on in choosing your shoes, but I would budget, I'd say between $50 to $150 for your shoes. Jewelry is the final thing for show day. You don't have to wear any jewelry. I mean, it's really about, you feeling beautiful. The judges are not judging your jewelry. So I mean, as far as your budget, it's just really what you want to do with that, but you don't even have to do jewelry if you choose not to. I feel like simpler sometimes can even be better. So outside of show day glam, the other things, of course, you already mentioned food. The other thing is coaching. And I just want to say when it comes to coaching, you get what you pay for. I mean, I've heard of some companies out there that are really cheap, but then I'll hear also that people aren't getting responses for days, or they're not getting all their questions answered, or it's not very detailed. So I would just do your homework when it comes to this. Also, I would just say, hiring somebody who's like a local trainer that doesn't normally prep people from stage may not give you the best, results that you're looking for. And sometimes the personal training can be more expensive than doing the online coaching. So this is going to really depend on your budget. If you're doing online coaching, I would say, usually it's going to be somewhere between $200, $250 to somewhere around $500, $550, somewhere in that range.
You're going to get what you get. And then there's there's the difference between a prep coach, which is prepping you for the show, what I would just call a trainer who's maybe training you in the gym. And then there's a posing coach that, and they're offered in all divisions. So there are people who specialize in all divisions for posing, bikini posing, wellness posing, figure, physique, the bodybuilding. There are different posing coaches that you can get that will help you in that space. And you've got to figure out what you need and what you want.
Right.
If it's your first experience, but you are in this to win this and you are in it for the long haul, getting a posing coach out the gate may be a big help for you, and really set the foundation. But if you're not sure whether this is for you, just making those budgetary decisions. But we are really close to out of time.
All right. Well, let me just jump in one more time and just say, when make sure you know what you're paying for.
Right.
So don't just get the price of whatever the coaching service is. It might include posing. If it doesn't include posing, now you're going to need to go hire somebody separate for that. So just make sure you know what's included before you do that. So I think we pretty much covered the main things that people need to think about when they're thinking about competing.
So in summary, we have the fee for the organization, and the organization that we were talking about today was the NPC, National Physique Committee. We have the entry fee for the show. We have, and that's $125 to $175, depending on the show, more or less. What was the NPC card? Is that $50?
$150.
$150,
I believe is what the current is.
Okay. We have the glam, hair and makeup, or do it yourself. There will be an expense if you do it yourself with makeup. And the one thing I would caution everybody on the do it yourself is stage makeup. This is not going out to the club or going into work makeup. This is stage makeup, and so it's a little bit different.
Very different.
And to just understand that, your tanning you can DIY or get sprayed, and that's $100 to $150. Shoes $50 to $150. Jewelry, that is, I would hate to even put a budget on that, but if jewelry is something that you want to get, maybe it can range. Yeah. And then coaching. And as we talked about coaching, that's differentiating between a prep coach to get you into the show. I'll just call it a performance coach that may be enhancing you, or helping you with your training. And then the posing coach, which would, again, that's optional for you. But if you really are in this sport, getting a good posing coach can be a game changer.
Right. And I'm just going to throw a couple other things out there. We've talked about lab work and, working with, somebody who's a specialist in that. That also can range, but it's something else you want to consider. You mentioned the food, also your gym memberships, and those kinds of things as well. So, there are a few other things, but I think we're hitting on kind of the main ones and giving you a general idea. And of course, like you said, we'll do a longer episode and break some of these things down further.
And that was just 8 items before we got to the gym membership, and the food. So, there's a lot to take into consideration on this. And our goal in this Fusion Hack is to open your eyes and say, okay, these are the things that you should be thinking about and budgeting if this is the route you want to go, which we hope you do, because there's nothing like getting on stage that first time, and it can be very addictive. So for today, this turns us off on the Fusion Hack. Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other.
And be safe.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.